Hello, my name's Becky from So Much More, and behind me is my polytunnel, and I've come down here today to harvest my loofah gourds. So here it is. This is my loofah plant, and I know what you're thinking. It's looking a bit sorry for itself. You're quite right, it is. But it's towards the end of the season, and this is kind of what they start looking like. The good news is this one has got loads and loads of fruit on it. Loofahs are a really helpful alternative to plastic. We usually associate loofahs with use in the bathroom, and sometimes it's really surprising to find that they grow on plants like this. Loofahs are really great as dish sponges, general cleaning sponges, great for exfoliating your skin. They are really helpful. And what we have to do is we have to harvest the skeleton from inside the gourd. Now the skeleton is made from lignin, and lignin is really tough. And that's why it doesn't break down. So everything else inside the skin here breaks down and the lignin structure inside remains. And that's what gives us that lovely loofah sponge. Now, as far as growing loofahs need a really long growing season. So I would aim to sow these in late February, early March. The only problem is that they grow really fast, so do make sure that you've got space for them inside. The problem with the growing season here in the UK is that the time between the last frost date and the first frost date is relatively short. And that's why I'm growing my loofahs inside, because in the polytunnel we extend that gap very slightly, but polytunnels certainly do not keep the frost out. So if we have a heavier frost than we had last night, then it's quite possible that it'll get inside the polytunnel. The great thing about growing inside a polytunnel is that whilst the sun is out, it does increase the temperatures, and increased temperatures leads to an increased rate of photosynthesis, which means that the plants can grow faster. That means that I've got loads and loads of fruit on this plant, and it's been happy and healthy all year until it started to look like that. But that's what we expect. We grow loofahs in much the same way that we would grow cucumbers. They need something to grow up. They're a vining plant, and if you want to have a nice shape fruit, then you need to have something for them to climb up. Then the fruit can drop down and produce a really nice shape like this. If we have them growing along the floor, then the loofah shapes tend to be a little bit erratic. And whilst this is absolutely fine, it doesn't make for a good overall structure. If you want to keep the loofah in one piece and use it in the bath, like a lot of people do, then you're going to want a nice long straight one. So let's harvest a loofah, shall we? This one here is feeling nice and light now. It sounds hollow when I tap it, and it's starting to go a little bit brown on the skin as well. The skin's got a paler colour than the other ones, and there are some brown patches too. So this one is about ready to harvest. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it off the vine, and here is the finished fruit. Now from here I'm going to cut the skin open, and we're going to hope that we've got a nice skeleton inside this fruit. So here we go. We're going to peel back the skin, and can you see in there that we have this beautiful structure, and it's all that lovely lignin that's really tough. And at the moment it's quite wet, and it's still got a little bit of flesh on it, so it's feeling a bit slimy, and it doesn't smell great, but we're going to sort that out when we get home. The good news is that because the skin is exactly ready to come off, it's peeling off really easily in one big sheath like that, and I can just throw that on the compost heap. And this is what I have to take home with me. Now inside here are next year's loofahs. We're not eating these, so we don't need to worry about toxic squash syndrome, and the chances are that they will come out looking like loofahs. So I'm going to harvest the seeds from inside that. I'm going to wash this and let it dry out. And that is my first loofah of this season. Now, this plant still has plenty of fruit on it that are not ready to harvest yet. Up here I've got some really beautiful green ones, and they're still pretty heavy, which means that they're still full of juice and flesh, and that's not what I want. But unfortunately, because the growing season is coming to an end, as far as tender plants are concerned anyway, I'm going to have to harvest these anyway. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them into a paper bag, I'm going to pop them in my airing cupboard, and I'm going to just wait. They will dry themselves out. Now it is important that we harvest our loofahs at the right time. If we harvest them at the wrong time and the skin's not quite ready to come off, then we're likely to just be left with an oozy, sticky mess. It's a lot easier when they are actually ready. If you are planning to grow loofahs next year, then remember they need a really long growing season, so get them sown early. They need to be under cover if you're growing them in the UK. This not only extends the growing season, but also makes sure that they have that lovely amount of heat that they really, really like to be able to grow. And make sure that you harvest them at the right time, when they're ready. I hope you really enjoy growing loofahs as well, because it is such fun. It certainly brings me a lot of joy. Behind me, I should say, is just 2 plants, and so they have been really prolific. I've got about 18 fruits on these 2 plants. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll be back soon with more. Bye!